most important feature of monopolistically competitive market. And because of product differentiation, uh, a firm normally sells at a price which is higher than the average, which is higher than average cost of the firm. In case of perfect competition, a firm has to sell at the minimum point of average total cost. But in case of monopolistically competitive market, a firm is able to sell at a price. This is the price which is more than average total cost, which is here. So, and the difference between the average revenue and average cost is the profit. So, this area uh, denotes or represents the profit area. So, in perfect competition, it's not possible. In perfect competition, every firm sells at the minimum point of average total cost. So, graphically, that can be shown like this: that average total cost curve is tangent to the average revenue curve or the demand curve. And if the demand curve is if the price and average total cost or average cost is equal, it means there is no profit and no loss. Uh, there is neither profit nor loss. The firm is just breaking even. So this is the case of perfect competition, and this is not. This is what happens with monopolistically competitive market in the long run. In the long run. In the short run, a monopolistically competitive market can make profit also and can incur loss also, depending on the number of entry and exit from that industry in the short run. But in the long run, an equilibrium will be generated, in which the firm will just, you know, uh, will break even. But there is one difference between monopolistically competitive market and perfect competition is that in perfect competition, the minimum point of average total cost is the optimal point. But in case of monopolistically competitive market, a firm is able to sell at a higher price. Um, so in case of perfect competition, it was supposed to sell at this point, but since it is a monopolistically competitive market, that is why it is able to sell at a higher price because of product differentiation. So now the next type of market structure. So this is the difference. The first graph is for perfect competition, and the second graph is for monopolistically competitive. So the main difference that you can notice in these two graphs is that in case of perfect competition, the marginal cost curve is cutting the average total cost at its minimum point. This is the minimum point of the average total cost curve, but which is not the case with monopolistically competitive market. In case of monopolistically competitive market, although the MC is cutting average total cost at its minimum point, but the firm is not selling at that level. The firm is actually selling at this level. This is the level. But had this been a perfect competition, to have sold at this point, which is not the case.
Sir, may I ask that
Yes.
what these three curves are showing, like MC, ATC, and the third negative slope denoted by the D in the monopolistic competition?
Abuzar, just one question. Have you attended my previous classes or this is your first class?
Yes, sir, I have attended previous 3-4 classes.
Okay, so I think so. The class in which we discussed this MRMC, you were not present. Okay, no problem. So
No, sir, I am asking that how they are cutting each other and what does those specific points tell us.
this first line is marginal revenue curve, and
Okay,
the
sir.
second line is marginal This is demand curve, or this demand curve is also known as average revenue curve. So this is average revenue and demand curve are both same.
Okay.
And this is marginal revenue curve. Both are downward sloping. But as far as the cost curves are concerned, they are of U shape. So the this first one is marginal cost curve, and this orange one is average cost curve, or this is also known as average total cost curve.
Sir, I want to ask that how is that marginal curve first has a value near to P, then it is going down, and after reaching the point marginal cost, it again rises to the extent which it is on. Means how does the curve goes down and then it rises? What things specifically made this curve to do so?
So your question is why it is initially decreasing, then it has
Yes, sir.
started rising. This is your question?
Yes, sir.
So I have already shared with you the PPTs of the second unit, in which we have covered the topic of diminishing returns to scale, the law of diminishing returns, as well as the diminishing returns in the long run. So that is why cost curves behave like this. Initially, the cost decreases when we increase the scale of production, and after some time, when we further increase the scale of production, the unit cost of production starts rising. And that is why initially the cost curve, whether it is marginal cost curve or average total cost curve, initially it reduces, then after some time it starts rising. So I would suggest Abuzer, kindly revisit the topic of law of diminishing returns to scale. That would clear your doubts regarding the U shape of cost curves. So initially U shape means initially the cost decreases, then it starts increasing.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So today I will start talking about the one more category of the market structure, that is oligopoly. Oligopoly, the main feature of oligopoly market is that there are only a few firms that control the whole market. So a small number of large firms control the market. There are only few firms. So in India, we can right now one of the best example of oligopoly is the internet services, internet service providers. So in India, only 3 internet service providers are there. So that can be a good example of oligopoly market.
Imran bhai.
So one of the another example could be the petroleum marketing companies. There are only few petroleum marketing companies. So the most defining feature of oligopoly market is that there are only few firms, and those firms control the whole market or the whole industry. Products are differentiated, homogeneous. I mean, both cases are possible.
Are Imran bhai.
Some cases, is something wrong with you, Kamran? Or should I remove you? What's your problem, Kamran? Kamran Khan, can you switch on your camera? Okay. So there are 3 Kamran: Kamran Ansari, Kamran Ali, and Kamran Khan. That was Kamran Khan. Okay, we were talking about oligopoly. So the main feature of oligopoly market is that there are only few companies, few firms that control the whole market or the whole industry. And the products, as far as the product differentiation is concerned, both situations are possible. Both cases are possible. In some cases, the products are differentiated. In some other cases, the product can be homogeneous. For example, in case of oil, say for example, petrol and diesel, the petrol which is sold by Indian Oil and Hindustan Petroleum and maybe Reliance Oil, all are actually homogeneous. But in some other cases, the products can be differentiated also. And the differentiation can be real or perceptual also. In some cases, in most of the cases, the difference is perceptual. Say, for example, the internet service which is provided by the Vodafone and Airtel and Jio might not be much different from each other. But the labeling, the marketing, creates a kind of differentiation in the minds of the consumers and customers. As far as the entry is concerned, it is almost restricted. So, it is very difficult for a new entrant, for a new player, for a new firm to enter into an oligopoly market. So, say for example, India, whatever the other players were there in the internet services market, they exited from the market, and there are only 3 players right now. So, and the entry of new players in the market is very difficult, very tough. It's almost restricted because of various reasons. And another example of oligopoly market could be airlines, the domestic airlines. Domestic airlines market. There are only few players: Go Air, Indigo, Jet Airways has already become bankrupt, and Indian Airline is going to become bankrupt, and SpiceJet. So there are only few players in the domestic airlines market. So that can be another example of oligopoly market. And the entry of new players in the market is very tough. The Tata Group has entered into the airline services but there are few. As far if you will count the number of domestic airline service providers, they will not be more than 7, 8, 6, 7 or 8 might be. So that is one example of oligopoly market. Another feature of oligopoly market is that the firms that are operating in the market are dependent on each other. So what one firm does will have an impact on its rivals. So pricing, level of output, advertising, all these things involve strategic consideration. Strategic means, in simple word, strategic means long term. So a firm has to look at its own action as well as the actions of its rivals, as well as the actions of other firms which are operating in the market. And because the actions of other firms have an impact on the results, on the profitability, on the performance of the another firm. So each firm's action impacts the performance of other firms. So it's not that let us focus only on our own performance and ignore the actions of other firms which are there in the oligopoly market. So this is another important feature of oligopoly market, that actions and performance and its strategies, say for example, related with the pricing, related with the level of output, related with advertising, all these actions and strategies depend on the actions and strategies of other firms which are operating in the same industry and selling the same product and service. So this is interdependence is another feature of oligopoly market and the most important feature. So what happens if firms are dependent on each other? Decision leads to reaction. If firm A takes any decision, it arouses a kind of reaction from other firm, and when other firm reacts to the decision of firm A, then the first firm reacts to reaction. So initially firm A takes decision, then firm B reacts, then firm A reacts to reaction, and so forth. So this action, reaction keeps going on. So this is an important feature of oligopoly market. So say for example, if firm A reduces price, so as a competition, because if firm A is reducing price, so customer will shift from firm B to firm A. So firm B will also reduce the price. So a price competition between firm A and firm B will go on. So decision, then reaction to reaction, then reaction to reaction to reaction. So each action of firms which are operating in an oligopoly market invites reaction from other firms, because it impacts the performance of other firms. Just I have given you example of price, that if there are only few firms and one firm reduces the price, then the market share of other firms will come down, because customers will shift to a firm which has reduced the prices. So it will impact the performance of other firms also. So this is the feature of oligopoly market. And there are two major options available to firms which are operating in an oligopoly market. There are two options. Broadly, a firm can opt one of the two options or a strategy. Either it may decide to cooperate, or it may decide to compete. So there is no third option. Cooperate means firm A can enter into an agreement with firm B. The agreement can be implicit, or the agreement can be implicit also without any written agreement. It is just understanding between these any 2 or 3 or 5 firms. So if they are acting in cohesion, if they are acting in cooperation, that will maximize the profit of every firm which is operating in the oligopoly market. Another option is, instead of cooperating with each other, if each firm decides to compete with each other, in that case the profits will not be maximized, and but each firm is trying to maximize its profit, but its best interest is not there. So the optimal, the maximum profit of all firms will come down if they compete with each other instead of cooperating with each other. If all firms cooperate with each other, the profits of all firms can be maximized, will be optimum, will be maximum. But if they compete with each other, their profits will come down. Let me just give you one example so that you can visualize, you can imagine how cooperation and competition impacts the price. So if there are two firms, say for example Airtel and Jio, if they start a aggressive marketing and try to snatch the customers of Jio to Airtel, so if the marketing campaign has been started by Airtel, it will, the Jio will react to this marketing strategy, and they will also start attacking the customers of Airtel, and they will try to snatch the market share of Airtel. So a marketing war, an advertising war will get initiated, and both Airtel and Jio will end up spending a lot of money on the marketing, which would have been avoided in case this pricing or this advertising war would not have been there. See, the profits of both Airtel and Jio would have been maximum, but they are spending unnecessary amount on the advertising because of the war, because they are trying to take away the market share of other firms. So both will end up spending unnecessary amount of money on the advertising. So the profits of both Airtel and Jio will come down because of spending on advertising. So this is one example of competing with each other. So instead of competing with each other, if they decide to cooperate, so both are not spending money on the advertising, and there is a kind of tacit agreement or implicit agreement among them that let us not try to snatch the market share of each other. Whatever is there, let us agree on that. And both firms are not spending any amount of money on the advertising. In that case, both the profits of Airtel and the profits of Jio will be more than the other case that we discuss right now. That is the case where they were competing with each other. They were competing with each other in terms of advertising. So this is the most important feature and of oligopoly market. So here comes the role of game theory. So game theory has an application in case of oligopoly market. The game theory is one of the area of study in economics, where economists use the word game to refer to any situation involving at least two people that requires those involved to think strategically. Strategically, the word strategic, what does this mean, strategic? Strategic in single word, if I try to define this, strategy means long term. So if you are thinking strategically, you may ignore the short term loss in anticipation of long term profit. So this is also this is what happens in case of oligopoly market also, that each firm tries to forego the immediate profit in anticipation of the long term profit, which is possible if firms collude with each other. If firms enter into tacit collusion among themselves, so the profit will be maximum in that case instead of competing with each other. So this is the definition of game theory. So any situation where two or more players are involved and which requires you to think strategically. The study of how people behave strategically under different circumstances is called game theory. So the study of how people behave in different situations and circumstances is called game theory. So game theory has an application in case of oligopoly market. So, and the basic concept that I have discussed with you is that there are only two options in front of an oligopolist. That is, either it may decide to cooperate or it may decide to compete with with others. So if all decide to cooperate with each other, the profits can be maximized. The profits of the firms can be maximized. But if they decide to compete with each other, they will suffer and their profits will come down. Their profits will come down. This is some basic terminology of game. In any game, there are some rules. And then the second point is, and every participant in that game has to follow that. There are some actions which are allowed and there are some actions which are not allowed. So the games, every game has certain rules. What is the rule? Then the second feature that the second terminology which is associated with game is strategy. Strategies that players employ to attain their objective in the game. So there are some possible strategies or options in front of every player that it can decide to take. So so if there are no options available to a player, then it won't be a game. There must be some options in front of every player. Out of those options, a player can decide to choose one of the options. So that is the second point, the presence of strategies that players employ to attain their objective in the game. The third terminology is payoff. Payoffs that are the result of the interaction among the players' strategy. Payoffs can be in the form of profit. Say, for example, in case of firms, if we are talking about firms, then maximization of the profit is the payoff. So we have to look at the payoff. Payoff means the outcome of the game. So which firm is maximizing its profit, which is the ultimate objective of every firm which is there in a market. Every firm in the market is for profit. So the maximization of the profit is the ultimate goal of every firm. So if we are applying the game theory in case of oligopoly market, then the payoff generally is maximization of profit. So business strategy actions taken by a firm to achieve a goal such as maximizing profit. So these are some basic terminology which is used in case of games. Because the number of firms in an oligopolistic market is small, each firm must act strategically. Why strategically? Because each firm's action impacts the performance of other firms. So behaving strategically means acting to achieve a goal by anticipating the interplay between your own and others. So before acting or before taking any action, we have to anticipate the reaction of other firms and the interplay of our action and their reaction. And then ultimately how this will impact the performance of different firms in the long run. And ultimately, we have to talk in terms of payoffs, that is the profit. So if we, whatever actions we are going to take, it will induce a kind of reaction from other firms, and our action will cause reaction from other firms, and our profits will be impacted, their profits will be impacted. So before taking any action, we have to anticipate the reaction from other firms, the interplay between our own and others. When your outcomes depend on another's choice, so our outcome not only depends on our own action, but also on another's choice. So each firm knows that its profit depends not only on how much it produces, but also on how much the other firms produce. So say for example, so the level of production. So our profit not only depends on how much we are producing, but it also depends on how much other firms are producing in the market, which is the case of oligopoly market. So the situation can be analyzed in an oligopoly market regarding an example in economics that is known as prisoner's dilemma. Prisoner's dilemma, in which there are two optimum, there are two equilibrium possible. The first equilibrium is known as cooperative equilibrium, and the second equilibrium is known as non-cooperative equilibrium. If the participant in the game of colluding with each other, cooperating with each other, that will increase their mutual payoff. If they are not cooperating with each other and they are pursuing their own self-interest, in that case, the equilibrium that is achieved is known as non-cooperative, and the mutual payoff will not be maxed up in case of non-cooperative equilibrium. If they cooperate with each other, their mutual payoff will be much higher than the case if they are pursuing their own self-interest instead of cooperating with each other. The prisoner's dilemma provides insights into the difficulty in maintaining cooperation, but it's not so easy. I mean, cooperation is also not easy because it's not in the best interest of individual player. I will demonstrate, I will show you through one example how cooperation is very difficult. So often people and firms fail to cooperate with one another when cooperation would make them better off. However, if both cooperate with each other, they will be better off. But cooperation is difficult because in the short run, if they do not cooperate with each other, uh, then in the short run their profit will be more. So the prisoner's dilemma is a particular game between two captured prisoners that illustrates why cooperation is difficult to maintain even when it's mutually beneficial. This is some terminology. So the dominant strategy is the best strategy for a player to follow regardless of the strategies chosen by the other player. And cooperation is difficult to maintain because cooperation is not in the best interest of the individual players. So look at this matrix. The situation, let me explain to you the situation. The situation is this. There is, two captured prisoners are there, and both have been given some options. And this matrix demonstrates the options available to each prisoner. So there are two options. If both confess, if Bonnie and Clyde, if both confess, then both have to spend 8 years of jail. 8 years in jail. Both have to spend 8 years in jail if they both confess. This is the first situation. This is the first. And another situation which is possible is if both remain silent. If both remain silent instead of confessing to the crime, then both will get 1 year of jail. Okay, so this is two possible situations. Another two possible combination is, say for example, if one confesses, another remains silent. In that case, the person who will confess will go free. So if Clyde confesses, he will go free. And if Bonnie remains silent, in that case, he has to spend 20 years of jail. And the same thing will happen here also. If Bonnie confesses and Clyde remains silent, then the person who is silent has to spend 20 years in jail. So now this is the situation in front of you. Now think about this situation. You and your friend have been arrested by police and they have given you this option that if you both confess, you both have to, spend 8 years of jail. And if you both remain silent, then you both have to, spend 1 year of jail. And if one of you confesses and another remains silent, and then the person who remains silent has to spend 20 years of jail and the person who confesses will go free. So what you think is the best option?
So both should remain silent.
Yes, sir. Khamoshi mein barakat hai, so both will remain silent.
Usman is saying that if both remain silent, that is best for both of them.
Yes, sir. Because they get prison just for 1 year. On the other hand, the prison is for 8 years or 20 years.
तो तो अब दोनों अंदर गए और दोनों ने आपस में डिसाइड किया कि ऐसा ऐसा हमें ऑप्शन दिया गया है, सो लेट अस कोल्यूड विद ईच अदर, लेट अस एग्री विद ईच अदर, and let us both remain silent, let us not confess the crime. And but what happens, say for example, they have agreed on this thing that let us remain silent, but this option, think about this option, this is very lucrative. So after talking in secret with each other, each one is thinking, let us confess, because the other person will not confess, and if we will confess and other person will remain silent, he has to spend here 20 years of jail, and since we will confess, we will go free, isn't it?
So what is the use of this prisoner's dilemma in economics for managers? How would it be going to help?
Boozer, I think you are not listening to what I am saying. You are, I mean, if you are really listening to me, your question should reflect that. We are talking about oligopoly market, and oligopoly market is a market where there are only few players, and each firm's action impacts the performance of other firms. So that same situation, can be analyzed using game theory. And one of the example of game theory is prisoner's dilemma, which has application in oligopoly market. So I will give you other examples from the oligopoly market. But before giving example from oligopoly market, first the prisoner's dilemma should be clear to you. The concept of prisoner's dilemma, the concept of game theory should be clear to you. Okay. So that is why I am first explaining to you the prisoner's dilemma, the game theory. Then how it can be applied in case of oligopoly market will become clear to you. Is it okay, Abuzar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So initially, what I told you, there are two options in case of oligopolist: cooperate and compete. Cooperate and compete. Same is the situation in front of these two prisoners. If these two prisoners decide to compete with each other, in that case, what will happen? Both will remain, both will confess, and both have to spend 8 years of jail if they compete with each other. And if both decide to cooperate with each other, in that case, both have to spend 1 year of jail. This is the point. That in an oligopoly market, there are two options: compete, cooperate. So if they cooperate with each other, so as Usman has said and other said, if they cooperate with each other, then in that case both have to spend less amount of time in jail. But if they compete with each other, and try to ditch each other, they try to not cooperate with each other, in that case both will wish for going free without spending any time in the jail. So they will wish for this situation, but instead of this, since every participant is rational in this game, so if both will confess, in that case both have to spend 8 years of jail. So this is how cooperation and competition through this example economists have tried to demonstrate the difference between cooperation and competition. That if there is benefit in cooperation, if if firms decide to compete with each other, their profit will not be maximum, their interest will not be optimal. So which is the case in this example also, where if Bonnie and Clyde decide to cooperate with each other, they have to spend less amount of time in jail. And if they try to confess it with each other, so these two, situations are improbable, because if one person decides to, ditch another person, another prisoner, then both will think is in the similar way. If one is thinking of not, agreeing, not cooperating with each other, then another person will also think in the same way. And at the end of the day, both will compete with each other and both have to spend 8 years of jail. So in case of non-cooperation. So this is the equilibrium in case of non-cooperation, and this is the equilibrium in case of cooperation. So the point here is that there is benefit in cooperation and there is loss in case of competition or non-cooperation.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, if two firms are colluding, sir, then customer will suffer. It is a loss of customer. So is there any regulation by the government so they will not extort the customer?
We will take up exact examples in the next class, and in some cases collusion is not possible because of antitrust laws. So normally what happens, say for example in case of Jio and Airtel and the other player, that is Vodafone. So there is no written agreement between these firms. There is no written agreement because it's not allowed legally. But they are, behaving in a collusion. If one firm decides to increase the tariff, the two remaining firms immediately they also increase the tariff. Or if one firm decides to decrease the tariffs, other firms at the same time decide to decrease the tariffs. So by their actions, we can conclude that there is some kind of tacit collusion. That is why we are using the word tacit. Tacit means it's not in a written agreement. So if firms collude with each other, so your point is correct. What's your name?
Sir, Faizan.
So if there is collusion among firms, customers will suffer. This is the point. So if all firms are colluding with each other and all are increasing the price and the nature of the product is like a necessity, then of course the customers will suffer. The customer is paying more for the service, which in case of perfect competition, which in case of had there been a good competition in the market, the customer would have got the same product or same service at a lower price. But because of the tacit agreement, because of the tacit collusion among the oligopolists, the customers are in the loss. But they are making profit. Their profit is maximized because of cooperation among themselves, which in most of the cases is not allowed legally. But this is what happens. Say for example, one more example let me give you so that it becomes clear to you. From Delhi to Srinagar, the flight, if you search the flight rate, it's very high. I mean, it can be, maybe 12,000 or 15,000. But if you search the flight charges from Delhi to Mumbai, it may be, 3,000 only. Similarly, if you search the flight rate from Delhi to Kerala, it would be around maybe 20,000 or 18,000, 15,000 like that. So what is happening actually, the flight operators have entered into tacit collusion. They have colluded with each other, and there is some kind of agreement that on this route we all will charge a higher price. So because of this tacit collusion among themselves, customers are in loss. So everybody who is traveling to Kerala or traveling to Kashmir has to pay higher amount of tariffs, higher amount of ticket, has to spend more money, and this is why this is happening, because of the collusion among different airline players. So the collusion is possible if there are few number of players. So if there are only 2 players, the collusion is very easy. If there are 3, then it is possible. 4 possible. But the larger is the number of players in the market, the difficult will be the tacit collusion among those players. Okay, thank you very much for joining this class. Tomorrow we will take up, some examples from the oligopoly market, how this prisoner's dilemma and this concept of game theory can be applied in case of oligopoly market.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.